students, we'll continue with our chapter 4, that is e-banking. So yesterday we had seen the e-banking introduction. Then we had seen e-banking includes all the functionalities what it has. Then these functions related what benefits we have. So after the benefits, now we have is the challenges. So challenges, here are three challenges, but before that I would like to introduce what is challenge actually in the e-banking sector. So the information technology in itself is not a solution. So it does not has a solution. Itself is not a solution means you just have to be interlinked to solve the solutions. That is, it has to be effectively utilized. Whatever functions we are getting through information technology, we have to effectively use it so that the problems will not occur. Likewise, the concept of e-banking cannot work unless and until you have a centralized body or institution which can formulate guidelines, regulate and monitor effectively. Now, e-banking process is a very large process, and for what you require is a centralized body. Centralized body means a person or a organization or an certain center to take all the authorities related to the e-banking process. Now, when we are saying all the authorities here means guidelines, the actual regulatory on which your system is going to work. Then regulate it, check whether people are working on it, as well as monitor the effects means after people are doing, what are the results we are getting, we have to check that also, which can effectively the functioning of internet banking. So this can somewhere solve the problem of internet banking. The most important requirement for the successful working of internet banking is the adoption of best security methods. So to follow the internet banking or e-banking process, you have to adopt a proper security method to work according to it. So these presupposes the existence of uniform and best available technological devices and methods to protect electronic banking transactions. So there are certain presupposes that will tell you that yes, you need to be uniform, you need to be perfect, as well as you need to apply the best technological devices and methods so that you can protect your e-banking transactions, that is electronic banking transactions. So in order for computerization, now when banking became e-banking, that is on the computer process, to take care of the emerging needs, to take care of the security, the recommendations of the Committee on Technology Upgradation in the Banking Sector 1999 may be considered. So they took out a centralized way, they put on a committee, that is Committee on Technology Upgradation in the Banking Sector in the year 1999, and which can do the following procedures, that is need for standardization of hardware and operating system software. Then application system software means you need a proper hardware, you need an operating system to run on that hardware, you need applications for working on the e-banking process. Then need for high levels of security. When you work on certain systems, you need security as a one method. So need for security was one concern. Communication and networking. When you talk about security, you require internet, and for that internet you require communication and networking process. Then there is technology plan with periodical upgradations. Technological plan means according to this technology process, I am going to work like this is my technology plan. So when I'm saying technology plan, I am doing periodical upgradations also. Upgradations means to upgrade on the basis of my needs is called as upgradation. Means what? Suppose I am investing 500 rupees. I have a value which will be entered in the bank system as 500. Suppose the customer need is 1000 rupees. I need to exceed my banking sector value to be 1000 so that the customer can feed 1000 as 1000 rupees in the bank. So these are the application needs which need to be upgraded. Business process reengineering. Business process reengineering means putting each firm and each task into such a period that they could upgrade or they could do their task faster, so that the work becomes faster. Sharing of technological experiences. So technology experiences means according to the trends, are we going with it or not, is one thing. Then payment systems are also made upgraded, so that you require a proper authentication so that people could invest in the banks. Then you have MICR technique, that is magnetic ink character recognition technique, which was there in the late 80s. Then the Reserve Bank of India constituted a working group on internet banking. So it constituted a working group of a team who used to work on e-banking. So for working on e-banking, what they did was they found out three major areas of e-banking, and those three major areas are technology and security issues, legal issues, and regulatory and supervisory issues. So first we'll be seeing what is technology and security issues. So the technology and security issues are prime importance, as the entire base of the internet banking rests on it. Yes, your total technology and security is a base on which your e-banking is going to work. So if the technology and security standards are inadequate, if they are not sufficient properly, then internet banking will not provide the desired results and will collapse ultimately. So it will, if it is not proper, it will somewhere give a problem, that is, it will not give us the output what we want, and will collapse, and ultimately means people will stop using it. The RBI, realizing this crucial requirement, RBI got to know that this is a very important requirement, and issued the following guidelines in this regard. And for these technologies and securities, RBI got into consideration the guidelines, that is, banks should designate a network and database administrator with clearly defined roles. So they should, bank should have a proper designated network authentication, as well as it should have a database to enter all the data related to the customer, and those database should be administered by a administrator for clearly defined roles. For that, administrator should work according to the clear rules of the bank. Second one was, banks should have a security policy duly approved by the board of directors. So they should have a proper security concerns by informed or approved by the board of directors. Then there should be segregation of duty of security officer, group dealing exclusively with information system security and information technology division, which actually implements the computer systems. So there should be proper segregation of work depending on security and depending on group dealing. Then banks, third one is, banks should introduce logical access control to data systems, application software, utility, telecommunication lines, libraries, system software, etc. Logical access control technique may include user IDs, passwords, smart cards, or other biometric technologies. Yes, accordingly, when I say that technology and security comes, so you need a logical access control. Now that logical access control might be data, the content of the e-banking process, systems, people are configuring n number of applications on their own mobile phones. So there can be a problem of access and security. So that should also be checked every time on duly basis. Next is application software. People are using what application, if they are upgrading or not, if they are not upgrading, if they are using an older version, what can be the causes of it, that also should be checked. Telecommunication lines. People sometimes communicate with a telephonic call also, that also should be kept as an record or proof for further processing. Then the next is system software. Now only the people are not working on the application, there is a main system software on which a person is working, and for that also the bank needs to keep a check on it whether the system software is working properly, that is the server is working properly or not. Now logical access control here does not mean in the technology that it only has a logic behind it. It will have your passwords, it will have your user IDs in the database, they will have your smart card details for accessing your accounts. Then they have other biometric technologies like your ATM cards, your billing accounts, all such things related to your banking concerns. So next is, at the minimum, banks should use proxy server type of firewall so that there is no direct connection between the internet and the bank system. Yes, actually, proxy server means proxy is a thing. Server is acting like a normal server, but it is actually not giving you the main server access. It is just giving you an detailed information which has been uploaded by the system on your internet. So proxy server can be one thing which can be done as an proxy related system which will not give the customer a direct interaction with the bank system server, which can create a problem of security. So that can be done. Then all systems supporting dial-up services through modem on the same LAN as the application server should be isolated to prevent intrusions into the network, as this may be bypass the proxy server. So there should be a proper LAN connection even if people are using mobile phones, even if people are using normal telephones, even if people are using the same internet service. So LAN connection will keep them connected so that the proxy server could be actually accessed and the bank system server will not be somewhere in a problem. Next is the second one, that is legal issues. So what can be the legal issues? Legal issues is the adoption and switch over internet banking will also raise certain legal issues and disputes in the future which have to be anticipated, and remedial measures for the same need to be adopted. So there should be some remedial measures for these legal issues and disputes which can occur in the future. And for that, further, these issues should be also compatible with the existing laws. Now they should be compatible enough that they follow the existing laws, particularly the Information Technology Act 2000. So they should at least be compatible, they should be somewhere comparable of the act, Information Technology Act 2000. Then the next is, the RBI, keeping in mind these factors, has issued the following guidelines. So for these legal issues, RBI has taken out some guidelines. First one is, there is an obligation on the part of bank not only to establish the identity but also make inquiries about integrity and reputation of the prospective customer. So proper detailing of the customer should be bank's priority for the legal issues. No unauthorized customer should be taken. Then therefore, even though request for opening account can be accepted over internet, now if the person wants to make an account, create an account using internet, he can do it online, apply it, but account should be only open after proper introduction and physical verification of the identity of the customer. So even if the person is opening an account, the clear proof identity, whatever concerns are there in that application over internet, should be properly filled, and then only that account could be created for the customer for security issues. Security procedure adopted by banks for authenticating users need to be recognized by law as a substitute for signature. Now when you go personally in the bank, you get a signature duly done on that form so that you are a verified customer with all the details and address proof and everything as a proof. They take your documents, but when you do it online, they should also be properly authenticated so that they could be recognized by the law as a substitute for signature. Even if they are not doing the signature, they are actually, as a user of that particular bank, they are properly authorized. In India, the Information Technology Act 2000 provides for a particular technology as a means of authenticating electronic records. So these electronic records, if they are doing for creating an account or for accessing the application, that should be maintained in a proper database. Then internet banking scenario is there is very little scope for banks to act on stop payment instructions from the customer. So hence bank should clearly notify the customer the time frame and the circumstances in which any stop payment instructions could be accepted. Yes, if by mistakenly or if the payments are being done, if the customer wishes to stop that payment, certain verifications should be done for that payment for not to be done, and for that a time frame, a proper time zone should be given by the bank to the customer, that yes, this is the time duration which has been given. If you want to cancel your payments, if you want to cancel your transactions, please inform in these time frames, otherwise that could be processed further. Then the Customer Protection Act 1986 defines the rights of customers in India and is applicable to banking services as well. So the Customers Protection Act, Consumer Protection Act 1986 is defined for the rights of the customers and is applicable in the banking sector services as well for their bank customers. Currently, the right and liabilities of customers availing of internet banking services are determined by bilateral agreements between the banks and the customers. Yes, those agreements which people are accessing over internet, sorry, the people are using, customers are using the banking services, and for that they are determined by bilateral agreements. Now why do they need a deed that will help the bank for authorizing the customer, and the customer will be assured with the bank security for maintaining their account. So this is bilateral, means both the side security and authorization. Third one here is regulatory and supervisory issues. So when we talk about regulatory and supervisory issues, only the bank operating in real space are regulated and supervised by the RBI. All the banks, the one main zone for checking all the normal banks, nationalized and centralized, is working on the RBI regulatory rules, that is Reserve Bank of India. So this regulation and supervision is required to be extended to internet banking as well. So not only the physical transactions of the banks should be checked by RBI, but the internet banking process of each bank also should be checked by the RBI. Thus, the RBI has issued the following guidelines in this regard. For regulatory and supervisory issues also, RBI has taken out some guidelines. What are those guidelines? Only such banks which are licensed and supervised in India and have a physical presence in India will be permitted with the internet to offer internet banking products to residents of India. Yes, obviously, RBI has taken into consideration that regulatory, what they do is, if that bank is licensed, that it has a proper license for working, if it is supervised in India, it should be currently there in India, as well as the physical presence of in India should be permitted with internet banking products to the residents of India only, the people who stay in India, not outside the India. So country. So thus both banks and virtual banks incorporated outside the country have no physical presence in India will not for the present be permitted to offer internet banking services to Indian residents. So this transactions could not be out of the country. People who are not as the residents of India should not follow the deeds of internet banking through that banking firm. The next is the product should be restricted to account holders only and should not be offered in other jurisdictions. Yes, the person who is actually handling the account should only get those details. Other person cannot be working or accessing as behalf of that other person. The services should only include local currency products. Local currency should only be there. There should not be foreign currency work in the internet banking process. Overseas branches of Indian banks will be permitted to offer internet banking services to their overseas customers subjects to their set. If that bank is there outside the country, that can just refer their own residents. They cannot refer to the residents of India. in addition to the host supervisor and the home supervisor. The host supervisor means the main person accessing that bank's advisory, as well as the home supervisor means the person who is actually holding the account. These people can only access. That depends on the residentship of the of our country or some another country. So these are the challenges which are faced by the e-banking process. By this we complete our chapter 4, that is e-banking. So we'll be starting next with e-payments tomorrow. And I'll be giving you assignment also tomorrow or by today evening of this chapter 4. Thank you.